You're going to need a fair bit of your thread, or whatever you're making your web with. Can be, well, this is embroidery thread. It can be just string. It could be jute. It could be dental floss. Whatever you're going to make your web with. They are made with all kinds of material. You just have to remember that it needs to be thin enough to make a decent web in the size of the hoop that you are working with. So I have 3, 6, I'm just measuring it on the edge of the table, 9, 12, about 15 feet. So we're going to cut that off there. So my table is 3 feet wide. And that's how I came to the 15 feet. I just stretched it out across the end of the table 5 times. A lot of my measuring is done by sight. Or, as you see, I use the end of my table a lot. Okay, so we are going to thread our needle. So I just fold my thread in half and slide it through the eye of the needle. And now it's going to be a jumbled mess if I don't be careful. So, and of course we want to straighten it out. Find out where the other end is. Sometimes it's a test of tolerance. Or at least a test of talent. There we go. Okay, so now we have our end. We have our other string about a foot up. So we're going to make a slip knot. So we're going to start making a knot. So we have that. See if I can do this without having my fingers in the way. So we have our slip knot, and we're going to grab it right there, and we're going to put this end right in through there and hold that. So what we're doing is we're making a knot on the long piece of the thread, if that makes any sense. So there we have. So there's our slip knot. So we're going to tighten that up right there, and there's our slip knot. Kind of looks like a support ribbon right now. And then if we slide this, we can put our finger in there, and we pull that, and that will slide up. You also have to be careful that your knot does not come undone while you're sliding it up. So there's our slip knot. Okay, so now I like to lay my knot on the table, put my ring over it, pick up the knot, put my needle through it. However it is that you can get to the same point, then you do it however it is that you have to do it. But you can hold it in your hand, but you'll get just as tangled up. So this is just as simple. And also, if you're working in a small space, There are times when you do not want your arms all flailing all over the place, because then you might be knocking stuff off the shelf, or a lot can happen in a small space, believe me. So now we've tightened our knot up, and we're just going to slip our knot right down to the hoop. I'm hoping this makes sense. Hoping you can see what it is I'm doing. They tell me that as I do videos, I will get better at it. Well, this is my first one, so I'm thinking at this point it can't get any worse. So, as long as you can see what I'm doing, as long as you understand what I'm saying, I'm entertaining enough that you like my video, that you subscribe to my channel. So you will come back and learn a whole lot more interesting things. I handcraft a lot of items. So along with the Dreamcatchers, I do the parachute cord survival bracelet and the monkey fist. The monkey fist is a test of tolerance, because one false move and you start all over again. So, but that'll be another video. Parachute cord. I do all occasion wreaths and swags. The welcome signs, the porch signs, door leaners, several different names for them. I am dabbling in the sublimation mugs and t-shirts. I don't want to get bored. If I get bored, I might get old. I don't want to get old. And they say if you don't use it, you lose it. So I don't want to lose my mind too early, so I just keep using it. So, but anyhow, back to the Dreamcatchers. So we are doing a blanket stitch. And here I go again. I'm just going ahead and working away and forget to tell you what I was doing. So we're going to lay across there. Going to come up through the bottom and bring it up through. Now I make my stitches about 1 inch apart. And you can measure it if you like. I just eyeball it, because you know, it is handcrafted, so it is not perfect. And those who know me can tell my web. I don't know, so they tell me. They're like, yeah, I can tell you did that one. I can tell that's yours. I don't know, they don't explain how they can tell, but apparently I have a signature in my web. I don't see it. Maybe you're going to see it. And if you see it, please tell me exactly what it is that makes mine stand out. So yes, this is called the blanket stitch. We go over, we go up through, and there we are. And now if you find that you didn't do it right, you can go back through and undo it, because I failed to see that this was the last one. And this one needs to join. So we have the tail of where we started. Now be careful clipping the tail. It will be the same as when you're clipping the center where the bead is. You don't want to clip too close, but you don't want the tail in your way. So you'll see a lot of them where the tails aren't clipped, because for two reasons. Either they're made in a factory and the machine does not clip the tails, or the person making them was too afraid to clip the tails for fear of it coming apart. I would lean towards the first reasoning. So a lot of them are made in factory. They have become so commercialized. There are very few people who are actually handcrafting their own Dreamcatchers, which is a sad state of affairs as far as I'm concerned, but they call it progress. And so we are joining that one right there. Now, the actual stitching of the web. So we have to start with the blanket stitch regardless of which stitching we're using for the web. Now this one is simple. The simplest would be to just continue with the blanket stitch all the way around, and some people do that. I like this stitch, which is the first stitch my grandmother taught me, in which we go, okay, we tied off here, so we are moving to this one, and we will put our needle down through the top, and then I just pop my needle right back up like that to go into the next stitch, and pop it back up and in the next stitch. And now I have to pull it around a little because I need more of my thread so I can go in the next stitch. So we're going to go in there, and I just pop it back up. And it's pretty simple once you get the hang of it. And you're just going to continue all the way around with this till you get to the center. Now the trick with this stitch is to not tighten it too much. But of course you have to tighten it because you need your thread. And of course, with everything else, same, you get it all tangled up. Or at least I do, maybe, and sometimes my fingers are so rough that they're grabbing onto the cotton thread. And of course you don't want to have a bunch of lotion on because it's going to go right into the material. Yeah, you see this big knot mess here I have? This is what happens. So if this happens to you, don't get excited. Don't get stressed. Just follow it, and you'll figure out how to undo it. A lot of times it's just twisted, so if you untwist, if you're good at games like Tetris and it'll make you think. You think about how to get that undone and get it where it belongs. So we're just gonna, and of course every time you pull it, it's gonna twist and go back into a tangle. So there we are. We don't want to tighten it too much though. So I figure you all can see this, right? Okay, so we're gonna move our thread. We need our thread a little bit longer. So I take my thumb and my first finger, I hold here at the hoop, and I just slide it along till I have a foot of open thread. And then just slide it along so that I'm not knotting it up. or at least I hope I'm not. And then hold it here and take the needle and pull on the needle and bring it together. And then we start again. So back in the top and bring the needle back up. Now I just pop it back up, the eye of the needle right back up through the hoop and go into the next stitch. And that's what I do. I found that that's the simplest. That's how Grandma taught me. And that's the simplest to do. And again, got to pull it along. Now, before COVID came along, I would do Dreamcatcher workshops. So you would book your spot, and you would come and do a physical workshop with me. So, of course, your price of admission included your Dreamcatcher kit. And then you would spend 2 or 3 hours with me and make a Dreamcatcher. And it'd be up to a dozen people would do that at a time. And we usually do that on location. So, but with COVID, I don't know how that's going to work. Well, we're definitely, workshops have been canceled. But because I'm new at this technology. I know, I'm just kind of thinking out loud here and kind of telling you my my concerns and my woes, apparently. Yeah, so because I'm new to doing videos, so this is my first one. I am Lady Hawk, and this is Artisan Made by Lady Hawk. For those who've just come in. So the workshop, I don't know how, I guess we have to do a virtual workshop. I need to learn more about this technology to see how that's going to work, because in a what we consider normal workshop, I would be running around, I would be wearing an apron, I would be wearing cargo pants with several pockets and a vest with pockets usually. And I would have Dreamcatchers at various stages of completion in my pockets. And as I went around the table, if you were having an issue or you had totally messed yours right up, I would swap it out with one that would be that color done in that stage. So I only have 4 or 5 color choices for Dreamcatchers in a workshop. And that's how I make sure that you go home with a very nice Dreamcatcher. Or at least a decent one if you did it all by yourself. And so, because I've done workshops at the senior homes and handicapped homes, and I've made sure that everyone was assisted with their Dreamcatcher, as to make sure that they all had a decent looking working Dreamcatcher, because the Dreamcatcher is no good if it doesn't work. So it needs to catch all the dreams, good and bad. So it keeps the good ones, and the bad ones are burnt off in the first light of day. And that's pretty much the short story of how it works. And again, the more dreams, nightmares, night terrors, the worse your dreams are, or you're having nightmares, you're having night terrors, then the more feathers and beads, the more bling that you need. And I laughingly say I make bling for white man, because I do I do various dream catchers. I don't do all round. I do ovals, I do turtles, I do owls, I do hearts. I do crescent moons with wire wrap star flowers. I add wind chimes. Whatever I feel is required for that one when I am making it goes into it. And they are all handcrafted, and I bless them all as I make them, and therefore you just pick the one that you want for yourself or for whoever you are getting one for. Pick the one that you're attracted to or the one that speaks to you. Okay, so here I am talking away again and forgetting to tell you what I'm doing. So we're going to get another foot of our string free. And I've just been talking away and just going in to the stitch, into each stitch as I go around. Tighten it a little bit, but not too much, because you do not want to tighten it too much, because then you won't be able to find the stitch. You see this one here. So now where we are, I usually put my finger and my thumb there to hold where I am with the stitch so that I can prevent it from getting too, what's the word I'm looking for, slack. And it will undo the web. And sometimes I forget, and you'll see my web goes sideways a little. Like this one. The stone is not quite right in the middle because I let go, and you see it here. So I'm almost double away from this part of the hoop. So interesting. This is a 5-inch hoop, so it looks like I'm about 3 inches away from this side and 2 inches away from that side. So it doesn't change the Dreamcatcher any. It will still do the same thing. And maybe that's what people mean by they can tell my web. I don't know. But somebody will tell me one day what they mean by they can tell my web from others. So in the top, I just drop it in the next stitch and bring it back up through. Yeah, so on location at different events, I've had people say that dream catchers have to be at the window, and I don't have a window I can hang one in. Well, that's not true either. They do not have to be in a window. They do not have to be in the bedroom. They can hang wherever you would like it to hang. It does not matter. The dream catcher will work regardless of where it hangs. I have one that hangs from the rear view mirror of my automobile, and every time I get a new automobile, I make a new dream catcher. Because as I was taught, you need a new dream catcher for each new stage of your life. And a new automobile is a new stage. A new birth is a new stage. A new job. A new house. Babies get a dream catcher at birth, and by the time they're 5, their dream catcher is replaced. Because by the time they're 5, they're going to kindergarten or pre-kindergarten at 4, depending on where you are. I should say depending on where you are in the world, because it changes. Could be nursery school, could be kindergarten, pre-kindergarten, or junior kindergarten. You get the idea. So, and of course, that is a new stage in their life and therefore requires a new dream catcher. Dream catchers were never intended to last forever. They were intended for each stage. I hope that makes sense. Sometimes I swear I just babble while I work. So we're still dropping down into the stitch, into each stitch, trying to pull it around gently, unknot ourselves, untangle. Yeah, see, we're a little larger on this side than we are on this side. So we can take our thread. I must have stopped holding it while I'm talking. There we go. And sometimes I let my needle dangle to unwind my thread. So I'll just hold the hoop up and drop the needle down and let it spin itself undone. So there we are, back in the stitch, back up through, in the stitch, back up, in the next stitch, back up. So you're looking at little triangles. That's what you're putting that's what I'm calling the stitch. So you see each little triangle. You see this one here? That's the next stitch. Some are bigger triangles, but you're looking for a triangle. Or a close resemblance of a triangle, depending on how you're managing with it. And again, because we're not face to face, I can't tell. Yeah, so of course, don't forget to like my video, subscribe to my channel, share my video. Now there's a thing, because on location I tell people, tell your friends I'm here. Or don't forget to share me, like me. I'm doing the Facebook thing and I'm not too sure about that. Like I said, I apparently need to get with this technology. And to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not sure. Again, this is my first video, so they tell me I'll get better with each one that I do. And we're going to drop down in the next triangle and the next one. And sometimes it might be a little tight. I'm going to show you one here in a minute. That you have to actually really look for that triangle. You see that one right there? So you have to poke the needle in, and it will be a little tight. And here we are. We're gonna tighten her up a little bit. Oh, I got a knot going on there. And don't pull it once you feel it's stuck there. Do not pull it hard. Pull it back a little bit and undo it, because otherwise you're going to have an actual knot, which is not going to make you happy. And again, we need to be stress-free and happy while we make our Dreamcatcher. I've had a few people say, oh, I got one of those Dreamcatcher kits at the dollar store and I tried to do it and the instructions were stupid and I got mad and it just wouldn't work out. I just couldn't get it. I said, well, first of all, don't get mad. She said, then I was so mad that it did not turn out right. And I was angry for days. It's like, well, don't get mad. And I think the same is for all handcrafting. You get angry, you're getting frustrated, walk away. Because you do not want to put that bad mojo into what you're making. Now, of course, that's my opinion. That's what I was taught. And I figure things how everything else my grandparents and my parents taught me turned out to be true. I figured that's probably true too. And of course I believe in karma. What goes around comes around, and if you put bad mojo and stuff, you're going to get bad mojo back. So here we are, still pulling it around, untangling it as we go. Tighten it up a little bit. So, and this is as close to how the spider makes a web as I understand. And here we, so again, I dangle my needle and let it untangle itself, because as you work with it, it will get tangled. So I dangle it and let it turn itself around, so it'll be straight again for a little while. So back in the stitch, you're going in the triangles still. And remember, some of the triangles might be really tight, so you'll have to actually push the needle through. Some of them are really big. But that's the whole thing about handcrafting, is no two things are the same. And I laugh when I had one woman ask me, can you make me 14 of the same Dreamcatcher? And I said, no. She said, what? I said, no. I said, I can attempt to make you the same color. I can attempt to make you 14 similar Dreamcatchers. But I cannot make you 14 of the same. I am not a piece of machinery. And it doesn't matter if I lay them all out on the table and I'm doing them step by step, piece by piece, and try to do them the same. It's not happening. I've tried it. It is not working. Now there's a test of tolerance if you try to do them all the same. It's just not going to work. So, and I prefer not to try to make them all the same. I get bored. And of course I would get really bored trying to do 14 of the same. I crochet towels. I crochet the hanger onto towels so they hang off the oven handle on the front of the stove. And I actually crochet my own buttons. Now I make a set of towels. So you get 2 towels when you purchase a set, and that's going to be a whole nother video too, apparently. But often the 2 tops of the hangers on the towel and even the button on the towel is not the same, because I cannot make them exact. They're going to be similar, and if I made one yesterday and I'm making the other one today, if I do not grab that first towel and pay real close attention to what stitches I did, because I freehand. I don't plan out my crocheting. I just go ahead and whatever I feel is what I do. And a lot of times I think my elders tell me how to do stuff. I have some people ask me what's in that coffee cup if you are hearing voices and having your dead relatives telling you what to do. But it's a matter of opinion. And like noses, everybody has an opinion. That's just how I see it. Now they tell me that there's going to be trolls when I am making videos, or when I go live. I don't know. So of course, depending on what I have to say, will depend on a whole lot of comments and apparently some bad mouthing and whatnot. I don't know. Like I said, I'm new to this. Don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm trying. And with this COVID, I guess this is the way the world is going to become. It's going to be all online. So, and I rather miss doing events and talking to people in person. Like, hello. Plus, I don't get my steps in if I'm just sitting here. And of course, I have to be sitting here. Normally, I'm standing, but because of the camera, I have to, and the fact that if I'm not sitting here, I am not still. And you will not be able to follow me. You will not be able to see what I'm doing, because I do not stand still. I figure you'll get used to me. Or not. So, but anyhow. Yeah, I've been doing Dreamcatchers a long time. My children and my grandchildren know how to make Dreamcatchers as well. I don't know whether that's something that they would like to do on a regular basis, because, you know, life gets in the way. I apparently am the only one without a life. That's why I'm sitting making Dreamcatchers. But I find it very soothing, very relaxing to handcraft. Plus, it's like having a second childhood. I get to do all the fun stuff, all the crafts that I didn't get to do in my first childhood. So I really have a ball making stuff. And I love to see things create. Like, I love to watch them. I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? I know, it'll come to me. Anyhow, yeah. And if anybody can figure out what word I'm looking for, let me know in the comments. But it's just, I love watching my creations come to life. And I just have a ball doing it. I can sit all day and play with little stuff. Do little intricate, I do lighter holders with seed beads, and people are like, oh my God, are you nuts? I would not be playing with those little beads. Like, how do you even see those beads? And of course, that's a whole nother video too. See, all these things that you will learn if you just watch all my videos. If I just make all my videos, yes. Which, of course, is becoming the way of the world, apparently. So I have to get with the technological program, and rather than showing you how to do these things on location at events, I need to make videos. I need to put my items on my Etsy store. And I guess I'll put some video on my Etsy store too. There are so many different things that I like to do, and a lot of them go together with, a lot of my crafts go very well together. Some of my Dreamcatchers, I also do some resin work. So I made some resin hearts to hang from some of my heart-shaped Dreamcatchers that are made to hang from the rearview mirror in the automobile. So a lot of people have them hanging from the rear view of their truck. So in this size here that we're working on is a 5-inch, and it goes very well in a tractor trailer, a big truck, or a dump truck, or whatever. Some people are concerned with it being a distraction. And everyone who is a learned driver, so if you actually learned how to drive the right way, then you know that you have blind spots. Of course, today we have smarter cars. I think it makes for dumber drivers, but again, opinions are like noses. Everybody's got one. But anyhow, you know that you can lose someone behind your side mirror. You know that the pillars of your windshield are a blind spot. The pillars of the back window are a blind spot. So if you are an actual learned driver and you actually did learn the way to drive an automobile without all these new bells and whistles, then you know this. So the Dreamcatcher would not be a distraction or